Hey everybody. Haven't done this in a while and quite frankly need to, so whatever. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it to it. Look at this. This bad boy has been offline for a while. Gonna get back into this world. Oh jeez. Okay, there we go. Something fell. Was it me? Did I fall? Anyway, this is not the island, despite the very similar look to the everything, really. This is. There we go. Do I? Okay, I do have an incinerator in there. Okay. Oh, and right, I have. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-do. Anyway, so yeah, why is this one so much slower? My incinerator is like boop, 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 boop. Oh wait, don't get rid of that. We need it for our giant building. Oh yeah, I got a butt ton of iron. So this is the server, and I went back and I rescued all my stuff from my old okay. I got a steep slate, I've got a butt ton. Anyway. Oh, and I've got a solid number of pumpkins. I've got to create another place to keep my chests. Anyway. Oh, black dye. Indeed. I have that. Anyway. So, yeah, because here's what's happening on the up top. I suppose I should just start only using iron pickaxes from here on out, because that seems to be reasonable. Okay. So, let me remind you if you've been watching. Oh, there's more sheepy sheeps. Anyway, so I'm building this monstrosity here. Yeah, part of me is like, I should create an underground something, or, like, not make it so obvious that this is how I'm living and but meh. Like, this is my final statement on the matter, meh. Anyway, we got the broad and narrow path to destruction over here. And this leads us, it ends right here, but obviously village is right here. Is très magnifique. Anyway, I don't speak French. What am I doing with my life? This is a good question. What am I doing? In general, I have no good answers for this. Anyway, I don't know if, like, I have not traded with these villagers at all. I know that people get very obsessive about you a dingus villager, right? What do they call the ones? I forget. Wait. That are like, I don't have a job. Because you gotta find one with a job. These guys are just grunts. Anyway, let's see. Where's a guy with a job? Anyone in here got a job? Oh, this guy's obviously a farmer of some sort. Yes, some sort. The villager sort. Oh, yes, I can trade him carotes and potatoes. Maybe that'll be what I do with all my stupid carrots. Do I only have a farmer and no other good villagers? Yeah, I got other farmer. Hello, other farmer. Oh. You give me bread for emeralds. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Anyway. Do I seriously not have any other skilled laborers of any sort? Like, this looks like it should be a thing. What? Why? This is a blast furnace. Like... Those iron? They look a little irony. Irony. Oh, the irony. Did you seriously create a village path that just drops off the edge of existence? You silly villagers. Silly gooses. Now I can't get down. Okay. Or up. I mean, I know the difference between down and up. Yeah, I'm having problems. Anyway, earlier tonight I was losing my mind. I was angry in that special way that helps me know, hey, stupid, you're really depressed right now. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And it does not make me happy to be depressed. You know, I know this is groundbreaking thought processes right here. Depression does not make me happy. Yeah, that's right. I said it, and I'll say it again. Anyway, but yeah, like I'm just not feeling great. Like one of the like, here's the stupid thing is when you know your symptoms from an old Zoloft commercial. You know what I'm saying? Where they've got the little circle that's got a frowny face on it, and all the other circles have smiley faces, and you're like, I want to be like the smiley face circles. And the voiceover lady comes on, and it's got to be a lady because, you know, when you need authority, you get a man. And I'm not saying that this is true. I'm saying this is how the industry works. When you need authority, you get a man, and when you need empathy, you get a woman. Yeah. So that's how that goes. Oh, look at you brown sheepy. You're brown. Okay. I really need to harvest more pumpkins. Well, and also I need more coal too. Probably. Definitely. Good thing there's a big old chunk of it in my next section that I'm going to be mining out. Anyway. Yeah, it really sucks sometimes when you're like, I'm depressed and I don't know why. Like, there's really no call for it whatsoever. It's just freaking stupid. Why am I burning granite? Like, why is that? Damn it, granite. I hate you. Anyway, and I do, you stupid granite. I need chestesses where I can put things, like, momentarily. Should go chop some trees. I gotta think straight, get my head clear, get my plan. But I can't. Like, that's another thing. When you get all depressio and you're like, I can't think straight. And your brain is like, that's right, you can't. And you're like, well, can you freaking help at all? And your brain is like, let me check on that real quick. Doobie doop doop doop. And I'm like, you're not even typing. You're just saying doobie doop 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 and wiggling your fingers. And then your brain is like, yeah, I'm a brain. I don't even have a computer. And then you're like, why the frick do I even talk to you, brain? And your brain is like, I don't know. because we're both a little crazy. And you're like, that's right, you stupid brain. Keep talking like that. And I don't know. I'm a not eat asparagus and save you from Alzheimer's. My mother would be all about eating asparagus to keep you from getting the Alzheimer's. Runs in my family. That's one of the most terrifying ends of a life that I can imagine. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the way that I'm going to go out, then freaking please allow me the dignity of ending my own life when I am still aware of what my life is. I don't know how you feel about euthanasia, but like when it comes to issues of Alzheimer's, dementia, etc., like there is no question that your quality of life suffers in a huge and disastrous way when you have these horrible degenerative brain conditions. And it doesn't get worse over time. You become more and more of a burden on your family, more and more of a problem, and you lose. If you're someone like me who spends their time trying to develop their mind, you lose something that is very precious and very valuable, which is your brain. You try to cultivate knowledge and intelligence, and then time and entropy just takes it from you in ways that you cannot control. That's a real tragedy. Tragedy in every sense of the word. And I don't know what to do with the idea that, like, there's a possibility, however slight, and it is not slight, it's a real possibility, that toward the end of my life that I will lose my mind. I watched it happen to my grandmother. My grandmother, who had, 60 some odd grandchildren at the time of her death, which is a ton of freaking grandchildren. She knew them all. She knew facts about them all. She knew their birthdays. She never missed a birthday. She was absolutely everything that a grandmother should be, and then some. She was incredible. And, she spent a lifetime cultivating her mind. She wrote poetry and was, honestly, my grandfather, whom I loved very much, my grandfather, like, he lucked out with my grandmother. Like, there is no way that he deserved to be with her. Are you freaking kidding me? Because he was a cantankerous piece of work, I tell you what. Like, he was very loving to his family, but he was also, hard as an old chunk of marble, just really, I mean, he was an old cowhand for a long time, and yeah, he had all of the trademark, like, emotional distance and whatnot. Like, it's funny, he never ever told my mother that he loved her, ever, not once in her entire life. But he once, and possibly under medication, toward the end of his life, told my older sister that he loved her. And my mother was both amazed and very disappointed, because it's something that she never got from him, and that he never would give her, just the simple, I am your father and I love you, she never got that from him. Anyway, that's why I try to give that to my children early and often. But yeah, so the point is, my grandmother. Oh, okay, I know why. It's because I have it on the slowest possible repeater setting. Dingus. Anyway, there we go. But yeah, I saw what happened to my grandmother, and I do not want that to be my fate. But then again, you don't get to call those shots. Those shots, like, that is above my pay grade, as the saying goes. And, anyway, I don't need this many, but whatever. I'll just start setting them up over here. I'm not gonna bother too much about what they are, but I'm just gonna. Oh, I should have stopped at 9. Dingus. Being all like, but no, why stop at 9 when you can have 10? Because numbers, stupid. For real. This guy is nonsense. Okay. Yeah, we gotta liberate so much of this stuff. Holy smokes. That's iron. We're gonna. Oh, and I need to get my iron blocks. This would be diamond. This would be redstone. Way down here, I'm just gonna have a drawer for random knickknackery. That's where you go, you random nonsense. I need to set my anvil down somewhere so I can have an anvil. Put you in their boat. Not going sailing for quite some time. Oh, yeah, put the anvil in there. Oh, I do have shears. Okay. Sweet. Have shears. Okay. I'm just going to plop my anvil right here. There we go. We're going to go get some pumpkins. Geez. That was less effective. Anyway. I don't know why I'm talking about losing my mind. Well, I do. It's because when you have a bout of depression-based nonsense and you cannot control yourself, and your wife leaves the room because she's like, I cannot handle this right now, you're like, oh God, you're right. Like, you shouldn't have to handle this right now. This is not for you to handle. Like, come on. Anyway, I just feel bad. Because, like, here's the thing to know. Gentlemen, sometimes when you're angry and you can't express why, that's your depression. Because when you get depression plus testosterone, sometimes equals sign anger coming out sideways. And I wonder to what extent, because we teach such, toxic masculinity. We're so like terrible at teaching men to handle their emotions. Um, and it's always like bury it deep down. Don't let anybody know that you even have emotions. And that's kind of the way that we approach this. And like, oh, don't be weak by admitting that that you are depressed. And yeah, and I know that it's even worse in a lot of um uh yeah, when you get outside of just white men, sometimes the pressures, like your standard Latin machismo, for example, it's very much a thing. I have students who I've had students who tell me like I'm not depressed, and then I explain the symptoms, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I feel like that all the time, but like I'm not depressed, and no, I don't want to talk about it." It's like, "Oh, bro, I wish that you didn't have this ridiculous standard to uphold of like being uber masculine, as part of your cultural expectation of masculinity." Anyway, this is a whole thing. And yeah, and even if you're white, like depending on your parentage and the toxicity of your parentage, like who's your dad, uh my father definitely has the old the exact same way that I do, where he would just get angry and he didn't know why, and he would always be apologizing to me and to my siblings and to my mom, because he literally would have no idea why he was lashing out, like none whatsoever. He was a good guy, and he never like, the one thing that I can say about his weird depressed anger and my weird depressed anger is that at least it's not physical with other people, because I wonder to what extent domestic violence, like how many domestic violence cases could be prevented if we got, mental health care for men and destigmatized the very idea of it, Anyway, so yeah, like earlier tonight, I'm just kicking shit over, sorry, language. I'm just very angrily lashing out for no reason. I mean, yes, I'm frustrated because I was trying to get the server to work again. Has been having problems and issues, and I didn't know what to do. But here we are. Boom. Okay, let's get back down below where we belong. Anyway, but yeah, I was trying to get this done. I was trying to get a hard drive to work for a PS3 that I'm working on that I might give someone for Xmas. Oh, hello. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, there's a little bit of lag on the old server. A little bit of, because I'm running this off of an old, like, i3 all-in-one PC. So it's not the best. It could be significantly better. Anyway. So, yeah, boom. There we go. I'm just gonna make this one be for pumpkins. And I'm gonna go get my other pumpkins. My jacks of lantern. These are my jacks of lantern. These are my jacks of lantern. These are my carved pumpkins. And go chuck those seeds, because giving me way more seeds than I'll ever need. But yeah, I really hate when my mental health issues manifest during times when I'm like, but I should have control of it right now. I'm on my medication, and I generally, like, because I know what my triggers are. And one of the major triggers is a feeling that I lack control in my life, like that I lack control over outcomes in my life. And, yeah, block of iron. There we go. And indeed, I do generally lack control right now. I don't have as much control over a lot of things as I wish I did. But the one thing that I set out to do tonight, I absolutely 100% got done. You know, I was trying to catch up on my grading. Mission freaking accomplished. Oh, that's right. Over here. Got that done. I am 100% up to date in every single one of my classes, and it is finals week. And so all I have to do is, as assignments come in now, just take the assignments as they come. Whoop. Oh, I think it's funny that I only just learned about the trick where you put a torch underneath the falling gravel, and that it will render it thusly. And then you can save yourself a little bit of toil and trouble. Anyway, do I have a shovel? I do have a shovel. Let's get to shoveling. Every day I'm shoveling. Okay. I think we're safely through this bit. I can wall this back up. Not with gravel, though. Oh, gotta wait until I have enough cobbled type stone to do that. Anyway, like, I have a lot of things in hand. A lot of things are going really well, and I should be proud of myself, and I should be feeling good, but I don't. And that's the crappy thing about your mental health, is that sometimes you're like, I should feel better than I do. And you look at your brain and you're like, hey, brain, why don't I feel better than I do? And your brain just shrugs its shoulders and continues to, like, malfunction, shooting out sparks and whatnot. And you're like, what the freak, brain? Thought we were pals. Thought we were buds. Thought we were homies. Thought we were ride or die for life, bro. And now you're doing me like this, and your brain's like, yeah, what are you going to do? Come on, brain. And it is very frustrating to be, continually betrayed by the very part. Like, I don't work on my body. Let's be honest. Like, I am not hitting that gym. I am not working out. But I'll tell you what I do. Ha 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 ha. He said do. That's grammatically correct, by the way. But yeah, I'll tell you what I do. Little Bernie Sanders action. I'll tell you what I do is I work on my brain. I work on my mind. And I really do it. I actually spend time, like, first of all, checking my biases. I intentionally go out of my way to encounter information that runs contrary to the primary narratives that I'm fed by Google and other services that, are always thinking like, okay, well, clicks equal sign money, and he has clicked on this before, therefore send him more of this. Which is how the internet works, and it's how QAnon exists. QAnon would not exist if it were not for the unscrupulous practices of Facebook and Google and other such web-based services who are not interested in the should we or shouldn't we engage in these kind of activities. They are only interested in the, and what's the $ at the bottom if we engage in these type of activities? Oh, that's a big $sign. Let's freaking do that for sure. So, yes, always expect that large corporations will not have your interest at heart because they can't. They do not have the ability. I'm not telling you this as someone who's like, large corporations are the devil and we should. No, large corporations have existed. They will exist. They do provide a number of very meaningful services. I mean, try to imagine life without Google, right? And I don't know that it would necessarily be better if we took it back to the old days where it's like, yes, Yahoo and Google are competitors and they are competing on equal footing. And who knows how this game is going to turn out, because Yahoo was the dominant service before Google came along. You can fact check me on that. That is true. And also you had things like Lycos. Oh, I was a Lycos man my own self, I'll tell you what. Anyway, yeah, you used to be able to just use different web-based services, search engines and whatnot, to get different types of data and take you to different places on the internet, some that you might not find in a Yahoo or a Google, but you're only going to find in a Lycos or a web crawler or a meta crawler or something of the sort, And you best be using that Netscape Navigator. What do you use, an Internet Explorer? Oh, that's always been laughable. No, not laughable, but like, it has always been widely accepted that the competing programs were better. Always. Like, I go back to the very first days of Internet Explorer, and I could tell you that even back then, people were like, what do I use Internet Explorer for? Yeah, use it to download Netscape Navigator. Like, oh, that's what it's for. And now what do you use Microsoft Edge for? You use it to download Chrome. Then you unpin that crap from your taskbar, and you're done with it for life. Anyway, I'm just telling you, like, yeah, we all have our own little bubbles that we get put in because of the web services that we use that are algorithmically trying to figure us out. And figure us out in terms of how can they maximize profit, not in terms of are we radicalizing this human and potentially leading to the downfall of society. In doing so, they aren't worried about that part. They are only worried about the part where they're like, clicky click click equals more $ for me. Anyway, and like, I don't know how you could tell a business to be interested in much else unless you have some sort of ethics board that gives a crap about such things and has the power to actually hold them to account, which we don't have any such thing. Closest thing we have is the FCC, and like, thanks to Ajit Pai, like, it's been basically turned into a toothless nothing where it's just like, yeah, let's give power to the businesses to regulate themselves because they'll never do anything wrong with unlimited power. Like, right. You are so right, Ajit Pai, with your big stupid Reese's mug. Where are you now? Just kidding. I don't care where you are now, as long as it's not anywhere where you're making decisions for everyone, because you were terrible at that. Anyway, strong opinions on these sorts of things. Anyway, I do work to cultivate my mind all the time. All the freaking time. I try and take in information. I try to utilize the information that I've taken in. And because that is the way that my brain works, I want it to keep working for a long, long time. And I can't imagine what I'd do if it didn't. You know? Who was it? There was a great thinker who died recently, who was victim of dementia, and just completely withdrew from public life because they couldn't be in the public sphere, which is where they were so well respected and beloved, and yet they couldn't be there because of how incredibly bad it was getting for them to try and maintain normalcy. I can't imagine what that would be like. Anyway, yeah, we're depressed. Let's think about things that make us sad. What a great idea, brain. This is just, think about potential negative outcomes for our end of life. Don't you do that? Do you do that? Do you just, think about the end of your life and be like, yeah, I bet it's going to be sad. Like, oh, God. What a ridiculous and tedious person I have become. And it's hilarious because, the person that I am now is not the person that I've always been. You cannot track every portion of my being as it stands now. You cannot, go back 20 years and be like, oh, yes, I see how he becomes this exact person. Nope. There is not a straight line from A to Q on that one. We're not quite to Z, but we are reaching that latter half of the alphabet, I'll tell you what. Anyway, this guy with his weird obsessions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been depressed and I've been having a bad time, but also the semester is wrapping and I'm back in my mind, in my server world. Can you believe it? Leave it? I bet you can't. Anyway, I'll have to tell the nerds tomorrow. The nerds will be pleased. Then who knows? Who knows where it'll go from there? Maybe people would be playing over the break. I know I could, but I probably shouldn't. Yeah, we're almost to Christmas break. And that's another thing. Like, okay. I love Christmas. And I know it's funny. Let me give you my Christmas breakdown real quick. There's a fun thing that happens with, any sort of Hollywood based film or TV show or whatever, or special that is teaching the true meaning of Christmas. And it's funny because the true meaning of Christmas is always be kind to other people. Don't be a jerk. Don't be like the Grinch, be a good person and treat others well and give them things and think more about what you're doing to improve this world than you think about how this world is bringing you benefit. And in general, that is a very good way to live. but it's also a very non-denominational, non-religious message. And and I think you'll find, like, watch as many true meaning of Christmas type movies, and as long as you are not watching, like, some Christian channel, you will find that almost without fail, the true meaning of Christmas is don't be a jerk. Be nice to other people. What true meaning of Christmas did Ebenezer Scrooge find? And this is in a story that was written in the 1800s, during a time in which religion was a lot more present in English society than it is now. And Dickens himself was a very religious man. And yet when he writes his Christmas Carol about what the true meaning of Christmas is there any mention of Christ child or of, nativity of any sort? No, there is no such mention. Why? Because, I don't know, maybe all the way back then they had an established true meaning of Christmas, which was don't be a jerk, be kind to your fellow men, which is a message that I can get behind. I'm that guy who doesn't mind talking about, like, oh yeah, so many of our quote unquote Christmas traditions were actually pagan traditions first. Like, keep the Saturn in Saturnalia, People be like, keep the Christ in Christmas. Yeah, I'll explain the joke. It's funnier if it's, number one, not my joke, and number two, if I explain it. Okay, so you know how some people are like, keep the Christ in Christmas? Yeah, well, other people are like, keep the Saturn in Saturnalia, which, like, boy, that just strikes at the heart of everything I care about. I actually do not care about Saturnalia as anything other than, something to throw in the face of, because you'll find Christians who will be like, if you're an atheist or an agnostic or a secular humanist or anything that's not Christian, you shouldn't celebrate Christmas, which is fun. Because that's what Jesus would have done. I've read the Bible more than just about any super religious person I've ever met. And nowhere is Jesus like, don't come unto me, ye that labor and are heavy laden. Stay the frick away and don't celebrate my birthday, you jerks. You gotta be real American, number one, because I'm Jesus and I'm a white American. Even though I was born in first century Palestine, where everybody's brown people and all of that business. Like, nope. It's all right, because it's all white. Oh, my God. White Jesus. Anyway. What a silly thing. And the oh God, there's the story is purported, but I don't know that we have it referenced enough to be able to say with a certainty that it did happen that way. I got a lot of good stuff out of that pit. Anyway, I don't know that we could say for certainty that it did happen, but it is purported to have happened, and that's good enough for me. Should be good enough for you, because governor of Kentucky, I believe, was purported to have said, if English was good enough, or it was good enough for Jesus, it ought to be good enough for our school children. Believing the word of God to be originally set down in English. Oh my goodness. Silly people. Yeah. I need to harvest my things. So my things are ready to harvest. But yes, I do love Christmas, and I always have. So it's been a very special time of year for me. Um, as a kid, like I just loved getting stuff, and I used to pretend that it was, more about the giving than the getting. But no, I was a kid, and it was, the late 1980s, early 1990s were my like primo Christmas years. 'Cause yeah, 89, I was 9 years old. That's how my time works. Yeah. So, um, yes, things. Um, and 9 years old is a sweet Christmas age. 9 and below, that's like prime Christmas. Where like even if you're not believing in Santa specifically, there is still a belief that that everything will be magical and that everything will be wonderful, and that the season will bring nothing but joy and goodness. And it very often did. It it did not disappoint. Unlike some things I can, yeah. I mean, there are some things I suppose I could name that do disappoint rather than, succeed in every possible way at making happy. Um, but yeah, Christmas was a magical time. You get that Sears wish book. If you are a young person who does not understand the word Sears or the word wish book, I am sorry that your life is worse than it could have been. We have failed you, and I'm sorry. But no, the old Sears wish book, it was a catalog. I don't know how to explain what a catalog is. I mean, there are online catalogs for shopping. When you buy stuff, you go into Amazon and you can go through the different sections of stuff. But like, imagine if Amazon put out a paper thing every year, and that was the only way that you could find out, like, oh, what's going to be for sale at Christmas this year? What are kids getting? What are kids hoping to get? And you'd find out, like, oh my God, Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon, popular kids television program and toy series. And they were super cool because the toys, they were a little bit like Transformers, a little bit, where like you would have a car and its wings would open up Gullwing style, and like then the car could fly, and then you'd have a motorcycle, and the motorcycle would turn into a helicopter, and all this stuff. Really cool toy line, really cool. The show was like like it was about pretty standard 80s fare, but man, there was some cool freaking toys being made back then, and I was certainly the beneficiary of some of those things, though not as many as I would have liked. But every year it was like, what's it gonna be? What's this magic gonna be? And there was always some magic. There was always some degree of magic happening in the world. And yeah, you can't put a price on that. Like that's something that once gone is never ever recovered. You never regain your special childlike wonder. because when you are the parent and you are the one putting out the gifts, I remember the first time that my parents were like, we were all adult children and we all came home and they were just like, all right, uh, let's, yeah, you guys help us put out the gifts. And my little sister, who was like 21 at the time, something like that, she ran to her bedroom almost in tears at the very idea that that she would not just wake up and have presents, that she would be any part of there being presents. She didn't like it because that's not the magic that we were raised with. And I get it. I understand. Yes, it's a little childish for someone who's like fully 21 years old to be like, no, I need the magic of Christmas. But like, I understand. I understand why the magic of Christmas. Anyway, so yeah, when I was a kid, it was always magical. And then, as I got to be an adult, loses some of its magic, but it's still very special and wonderful. Like those years when I would be going home to visit my family because, I had my family to go visit. Hello, I want to trade with you. Please give me, thank you. What a deal. Yeah, that is a pretty sweet deal. Not gonna lie. Anyway. So, yeah, as I, became an adult when I was still single, it was still very special to see all my brothers and sisters gathering at my parents' house for at least that one time a year. And that was magical in its own way. And then we all started to get married and have families of our own. And, I was one of the last few to finally get around to doing that. But once I had a wife to have, first couple of Christmases, just me and her, we were poor as dirt, but we had those, those special Christmases that you don't get again when you're young newlyweds and you're just living your life, doing what you want to do, doing it up how you want to do it up. It's, it's a very special time and, very special thing to be doing and to be enjoying. And I really, really enjoyed that. So, yeah, that too. And then you get a little bit older and then pretty soon you've got children of your own. And children of your own is a whole new level of, wow, this is magical, because they believe in Santa Claus and you can, start new traditions with your kids that, that are just traditions for, oh, geez, I should really go get more emeralds. But yeah, you can start new traditions that are just for you and your kids and your family, that are not the same ones that your parents had, which is, at first you start to feel like, no, this is blasphemy. My family knows the only way to Christmas. And what you people are doing, I've seen what you've done, and this is not Christmas. This does not count. Looking at the way that my in-laws do it, and it's like, yeah, I don't know where you learn how to Christmas, but where I'm from, we really Christmas. So, but then again, like, to a certain extent, my wife is going to feel that way about her family when she's encountering my family's Christmas. Anyway, And so, um, yeah, you get to start creating your own family traditions. And eventually those become the ones that you care about the most. Except for, this COVID nonsense has really done a number on us. And look, uh, people are getting really pissy at like, why hasn't Biden solved it yet? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, first of all, uh, it's global. So number one, it's global. It's a global pandemic. So it's not just like Joe Biden is going to stop it for all people. But secondly, the second thing that people fail to understand is that Trump failed hard. Like, he did a piss poor job. He gets an F minus minus on handling this pandemic. Like, he gets grades as bad as the grades that he would have earned in college if he didn't have someone doing the work for him. Anyway, is true. Uh, he was terrible at it, and he made it much worse. Remember all those times when he was like, "It's gonna go away in April." In April, okay. Which April was he talking about? Was he talking about this April coming up here? Because I hope to God it's gone by then. It's probably not going to be, if I'm being perfectly honest. But he was talking about, let's see, was he talking about this April? No, he wasn't talking about that April. He was talking about this freaking April. Okay? Like, he's like, it's just going to go away. It's going to get warm and it's going to go away. This is what he told people. And so, in lieu of actually preparing and actually doing anything to mitigate the damage of the disease, we did a whole fat round of nothing during the most critical phase of response. And countries that actually responded, your New Zealand's with the lovely Jacinda Ardern, who I would take as my president any day of the week. Doesn't matter who's in the White House. Like, I don't give a freak who's in the White House. If it's a choice between whoever we got now and Jacinda Ardern, I'm taking Jacinda Ardern. She is wonderful, and I have so much respect for her. And she kills it so hard at so many things. It's, just big old Ardern fanboy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, regardless. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all political. Apologies to all the Trump supporters out there. I know that you exist. I know that the vast majority of you are probably not racist. Some of you definitely are, but probably not people who enjoy my channel. I'll tell you that much. Because like I don't have a lot of stuff that appeals to racists. Like if you want stuff that appeals to racists, you got to go to other parts of YouTube, probably. Anyway, so. Or possibly other services, because YouTube maybe blocked them. I hope it's not maybe, but I've never checked. I've never gone out of my way to be like, hey, YouTube, you blocked the, the white supremacist stuff, right? They probably haven't. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like, if they can make money by having it rather than not having it, they'll probably have it. Anyway, I have very little faith in such corporate mechanisms as I think you will find, which is why racists are not going to find a lot for themselves on my channel. But no, I have very many people that I love and care about who are Trump supporters, and I try and have the difficult conversations with them because I think it's important that we as Americans are able to talk to each other. That we do what Ann Coulter thought was a ridiculous thing to do with her book, How to Talk to a Liberal If You Must. I've mentioned it many times. Like, yeah, you must. You should. You should. Liberals talk to a conservative. Conservatives talk to a liberal. And don't just talk to them. Freaking listen to what they say. See if you can find common ground. I bet cash money, because every time I've sat down with someone who has very different political beliefs than I have, there is always something. 100% guaranteed there's always something that we can agree upon. Always. Without fail. So we got to talk to each other. And I'm sorry when I make things political. I really do believe firmly that Trump screwed us over with the pandemic in not doing anything as an early response, and in disbanding our pandemic response team just because, he was trying to root out the deep state. And so he's getting rid of anybody that was an Obama appointee. And guess who was an Obama appointee? Everyone on the pandemic response team. Because Obama put that team in place and said we ought to have a team constantly, vigilantly prepared for pandemics. And we ought to, be ready so that we have a playbook for what we do if... not just if, when a pandemic happens. Because I think, like, this one, with how bad COVID has been, consider this. And you're not going to enjoy considering this, but I'm going to throw it at your head anyway. We are currently in the works creating our very own bacterial pandemic. Yeah. We are doing it as fast as we can, as well as we can. How are we doing it? By eating delicious, delicious meats, which we do. We eat so much meat that factory farming becomes the best answer that we have for how do you get this much meat into the gullets of these ever-fattening, including myself, Americans. And how we do that is we put them in places where they can't stand up or lie down, and they're just suffering all the time until they're plump enough to kill for meat, And how do we keep them, when they're in these multi-tiered cage setups? How do we keep them from getting disease? Well, we take antibiotics, same ones that we should be using for humans, but sparingly, freaking very sparingly. We are way too ridiculous with how we prescribe antibiotics and how we use them, because we need them. We absolutely need them to be able to fight the bacteria-based pandemic that is coming, because what we do when we inject all these chickens and cows and things with what should be our antibiotics, what we do there is that we create a scenario under which we are encouraging bacteria to become resistant to antibiotics, at least the ones that we have developed thus far. And we're not developing a lot of new antibiotics. Why? Because it's not very cost effective. Think about penicillin, made for pennies, sold for similar freaking rates. And there is just a general understanding in big pharma that you don't make your first quadrillion dollars in antibiotics. You don't. And so there is so much less development in antibiotics than there ought to be. And as a result, we are creating the sweet, sweet, just right conditions for a bacteria-based pandemic to sweep through this globe and kill millions of people. And to be so much worse than COVID has been. So much worse. Can you imagine? Oh my God, my kitty's over there and she's saying beautiful things. She's so cute when she thinks she's talking. Anyway, but yeah, we are creating these conditions and we are not learning our lessons. We have a habit of not learning our lessons when the lessons are relatively cheap and easy to learn. We like to learn them when they are hard and expensive, like we're doing right now with COVID. You know, learning that we are not as prepared for some things. Like, I think it's very telling that the EU, I forget who it was, someone in the EU was saying that the greatest eye-opening thing from this pandemic has been that that the EU always assumed that the United States had its crap together, and that, you know, structurally we would be okay, we would be able to help everybody else out in the event of a really, really serious disaster. Turns out, not as much as you thought. And that's what the EU is feeling, is that, like, oh, we thought we could count on the Americans to, you know, be able to help out with stuff like this. No, not as much as you thought you could. Not as much as you thought. Anyway, let's bring it back in. Let's stop being political and start being personal. So COVID, which has gone on for way too long and continues to mutate and create new variants, which the vaccines are effective against. Ha 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 ha. The vaccines are effective against them. I lost a friend this year. My best friend from high school died as a result of COVID, and he was not vaccinated. So yeah, it's a real thing that happens to real people that, you know, some of us actually know. So yeah. And because of his political leanings and because of the faith that he put in people who themselves were vaccinated but also spreading vaccine misinformation, he is now dead. And has left behind multiple ex-wives, one current wife, and a number of children, and a lot of family and friends beside that. So sad to see him go the way that he did. So very unnecessary. Anyway, but the personal side of the pandemic has been that we live so much in ourselves now, so much more than we used to, and it's not psychologically healthy. We just withdraw, we suck in like a tortoise, which, although, you know, the greatest and most majestic animals on earth, tortoises are not the best at being social. And in as much as we are primates and not reptiles, we are going to have to learn to be social again, because it's an essential part of our nature. And I am already not good at it. I am already failing at that aspect of life in so many ways. Is it raining? I think it's raining. So it should be like noon. It looks dim. Yep, called it. Raining. Anyway. But yes, ladies and gents, like... Oh yeah, sweet, I do have it. What a lovely time to be depressed, you know, right before Christmas time. Oh, and it's a very common time for people to get depressed. and I am really, really feeling it. Like, check this business out. Normally, I cannot wait to put up the Christmas tree. I didn't even help put up the Christmas tree this year. First of all, we waited forever to put it up. We didn't get it up until, like, the 12th? Yeah, 2 days ago? Yeah, that's right. So, 2 days ago, we finally got our Christmas tree up. Which means that it's only going to be up for 2 weeks, and then we're going to take it down again. And we should have had it up much earlier. You know, normally, I don't mind being the, like, okay, Thanksgiving's over, let's put the Christmas tree up guy. I don't mind that. Like, I know that there is a December 1st crowd. I understand you. I respect you. I think that you've got a good, good sensibility, good understanding of, like, not allowing the Christmas creep to take over our lives. But you know what? Also, I normally get very excited. But yeah, because we're not having people over, we are so withdrawn into ourselves, and it's just us. It's just us forever. And here we are. We are just going to be here and have the Christmas that we're gonna have, and that's it. You know, my parents are not even on this side of the country, and we won't see them because they are doing church stuff. They are going to be churching it up on the other side of the country, and we won't have any Christmas with them at all. And so, yeah, this is very sad to me. I don't love that idea at all, but, like, that's not the source. That's not why I'm not feeling the old Christmas spirit. And the Christmas spirit, by the way, the spirit of giving, in the spirit of our Lord and Savior Saturn, because Saturnalia, the gift-giving element of Christmas, comes from Saturnalia. Bring a tree to the inside of your house and then give each other gifts. That's some classic Saturnalia. Do I have a fishing pole? Anyway. Classic Saturnalia. And, yeah, I'm normally so happy this time of year to just think about Christmas and think about, like, how much people are going to enjoy it. Like, I've been buying gifts for months, like I do, and I've got things wrapped. I started wrapping things very early. I, wrapped my first Christmas gift back in September, which admittedly is a little late for me. Like, and I have more Christmas music than anyone you know. I know that most people don't own music anymore, so that makes it easy. But even compared to people who own music, I own a lot more Christmas music than just about anybody you know. Because I've always been super into Christmas. Like, I love it. I love the holiday. Except for this year, I don't know what it is. Well, I mean, it's depression, but I don't know how to get out of the funk, This has been a very hard year for me. And even though, like, yes, we had our play, and our play was a success, and that's made me happy, I think. I can't tell because it doesn't really show up like it's supposed to. And, yeah, I'm doing things that I need to get done. I'm taking care of stuff. I'm on top of things in a way that I, have really needed to be all semester long, but am finally doing it the way that I should have been doing it all semester long. I'm killing it right now professionally, and personally I'm very, like, I love my wife very much. I love our children. Our children are growing up to be interesting, fantastic people, and I love that. And I should be so happy right now. I really, really should be. But I'm not. And I know, like, spare me, please, if you're like, well, I know what can help. The answer is Jesus. And to that I say, first of all, what do you mean Jesus? Like, you mean a white guy from America? Or you mean the historical guy who actually lived? Or do you mean the mythical guy that you believe in your religious congregation? Like, because I ain't got time for some of those. um, and I really, really don't. And I'm sorry that I don't. And if you're thinking like, oh yeah, well, you can't have a happy Christmas without the Christ in it. Yeah, you can. I have in the past and will again in the future. It's just this one is not hitting right. It's so not hitting right. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And, my wife gave me it, like, she put up most of the ornaments. Our kids didn't even care. Like, I don't know what's going on, but our kids didn't give a crap this year about Christmas stuff, and like, we have had a hard time giving a crap, and a lot of it's been that, like, we've just had so much work to do, then we end up staying up late. Ha 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 ha, look at the time in the corner of the screen. I'm not staying up late anyway. So we end up working hard, staying up late, needing naps when we get home, and so we're missing time with the kids that we should be spending with them, but we're trying to recuperate from the previous day, and so we're, it's like a never-ending cycle of never catching up, and you just feel lost and disjointed and disconnected, and then, like, with the year that I've had and being reminded that, like, hey, guess what, teacher? We, the powers that be, see you as infinitely replaceable and do not value your services that much at all. And it's like, wow, you really don't. And they're like, yeah, we really and truly don't. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about the fact that my employer does not care about me. Like, there's a book that I have referenced multiple times, the Johann Hari's Lost Connections. It's about the causes of depression and about the fact that, like, there are only two known causes of depression that are biological, and all the others are social and circumstantial. And so, what do we do to create the environment for ourselves to not be depressed? Is the question of that book, and I think it's very valuable. I think that even if you are someone who is diagnosed and has medication and is seeing benefits of the medication, like, also understand what the other causes of depression are and try to get yourself out into nature and out into a community of some sort, connecting with other people, and, make yourself feel like the life that you are living matters because it's supposed to. And it so very often feels like it doesn't. It's easy to fall into that line of thought. That, like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And it's not, I'm not talking suicidal. I'm not saying, no one will miss me if I'm gone. In the sense that, like, I feel like offing myself. No, I don't. I do not feel that way at all. I'm not suicidal. I have had friends who were. I've lost friends to suicide. So I wouldn't joke about that, unlike the current generation. By the way, current generation, the crappiest thing that you do? Like, I'm an old guy, and I see so many wonderful things in your generation. There are so many things that you guys do that are awesome and that I will give you full credit for. But the crappiest thing that you do, suicide bait each other. That's some bullcrap. Telling people, like, oh, if you don't be my friend, I'm going to kill myself. Or people just, like, oh, I'm going to like, I had a student say that they were going to kill themselves because they didn't want me to get upset with them for being late to class. And I had every right to be upset with them for being late to class. And so as a ploy, they were like, I was going to kill myself this morning. And it's like, dude, no, you weren't. I'm sorry, but you weren't. You weren't. You were not. Anyway, this is some bullcrap that people are pulling these days. Anyway, but yeah, like, if I had to pin all of this on anything, I would pin it on the fact that every day I go to work at a place that would not employ me if only it knew how. Like, if they could find a way around keeping me around, they would take it. That is not happiness. That is not fulfillment. Because one of the things in that book is, a lack of prestige. And when we say prestige, like, think about this. A tradesman in his trade has been throughout the years a very, very respectable thing to be. If you are a skilled plumber, if you are a skilled electrician, I hope that you feel needed and respected, because you should. Someone who has learned to ply their trade, a trade that not everyone knows how to ply, trade that not everyone knows how to do, you become an indispensable part of society. And we respect you. And that is supposed to be a big help in dealing with depression. Now, what do you do if you're a teacher? Oh, yeah. If you're a teacher, guess what? Society thinks that you're the problem. And Republicans definitely think, and I'm sorry to make it friggin' political again, but, like, Republicans have it in for teachers. I'm sorry. Sorry that is true, but it is true. Keep dipping their crap into our crap, like, trying to inflict us with all manner of poorly written laws that are trying to ban us from teaching things that we weren't even teaching to begin with. And it's just creating governmental controls that do not need to be in place. And one would think that Republicans, with their previous stated platforms, they don't currently have a party platform. They don't. I'm not saying that as a jerk. I'm just saying, like, during the 2020 election, they just said, like, hey, let's not have a platform. And everybody was like, I'm on board with that. It's weird. Anyway. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a teacher, you are not respected within society. You are not valued within society. So many people look at you and they're like, oh, you're the one who's out there ruining children and twisting minds and creating problems where, oh, God. Oh, that's where that comes from. Okay. I didn't remember that this was a thing. This ravenous ravine. Hopefully it's not too terrible. Anyway, so yeah, there's a segment of my life that I fail to get the type of satisfaction from that I should. Don't come my way. And that's hard. It is hard. You don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be someone who is like, yeah, I'm not respected. People don't like me for what I do. And I'm just always going to be downtrodden and poor me, woe is me. Like, you don't want to be that guy. Ain't nobody want to be that guy. But, like, sometimes you look around and you realize, like, oh, crap, I am a teacher. Like, that part is true, so... yeah, we can't change the part where the fact about our employment is what it is. Shoot. Okay. Oh, don't come my way. Oh, thank God. Anyway. Should have used something less ridiculous than cobblestones. Something I could break a little easier. But hindsight is not available. Anyway. Yeah. Never had the teacher blues like this time of year, but I've got it bad, you know. And like, had a student come in and you know, gave me a card and a couple of lollipops because that's what they, oh shoot. What am I doing? Because that's what they were giving to all the teachers, you know, but it was the student giving me something that, you know, that they went out and got for themselves. And I was like, my God, this is more than my administration has done for me. And it's true. It is more than my administration has done for me. Especially this year. Holy frick. There we go. We did it. We did it, people. Anyway, I don't know what the solution is. I'm just going to lean back and talk into the microphone for a second. I don't know what the solution is. This is a depressing freak episode, and I'm sorry if you had to listen to this nonsense. Please don't. And also, apologies to everyone on my channel. Like, there were a couple people who started enjoying stuff that I was doing, and I just dropped off hard because, like, number one, time constraints out of play. I was in the middle of grade apocalypse. It was a hard thing, and I'm sorry that I do not have the time that it takes to do all of the things. And so I just fell off in terms of getting my games reviewed. I don't even have time to play video games most days. And that's rough, and it makes me sad, and I wish that I did. But then again, like, I think about other things that I could be doing, you know, like, but this channel has helped me keep my sanity in times where sanity was hard to come by. So I don't know what to do. All I know is that I have a break coming up. I will probably have a freak out about the break being completely spoken for, and that it's already the new semester, and that I never really got a break, and that life sucks and it's going to be over too soon. You know, things like that. That you feel when you feel the feelings that you feel. And I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. Just wildly depressed, and life is not helping. And the fact that my depression, like, I'm still very upset that my wife went to bed upset with me because I was kicking stuff and yelling and having a tantrum. A man tantrum. And, you know, like, she went to bed having to deal with that. And I'm sorry that that's what it was. I don't like that. I don't like it when I have freakouts and breakdowns. It's embarrassing. It's really and truly embarrassing. You know, just realizing that you are not driving. You thought you were driving, you're not driving. Sometimes your genetics are driving and your genetics suck. So I've just got to wind this down. I keep waiting for some grand epiphany for me to be able to be like, and here's my way of ending my TED Talk. If you look at things differently, things will look differently at you. You know, like, I've got nothing. I have no advice. I have no insight. I have no epiphany. I have nothing to offer. I am empty. I am bereft of ideas, good, bad, or otherwise. I've got nothing for you, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing. I have nothing. I am nothing. And unto nothingness shall I return. But not today. Don't worry, I'm not suicidal. I told you that. I told you I'm not suicidal. And I promise that I'm not. Oh, a skeleton died here. Isn't that nice? Anyway, ladies and gents, no epiphany, no happily ever after. Just a lot of like... And then he worked on it and tried to get better. And some days it sucked ass. And other days, it really, really sucked ass. And then sometimes it was maybe not so bad. And I'm looking for some of those. And soon. Because I wanna have Christmas. I don't want to listen to Christmas music right now. I don't want to listen to Christmas music. And I don't want to do Christmas stuff. Like, I could have taken my wife the other night. We were in Havasu, just the two of us. I could have taken her to go see the lights, the Christmas lights on the London Bridge. They're beautiful. They're beautiful every year. And it feels like Christmas when we do that. And it reminds us of all the times that we've gone and done that, and of the times when it meant so much to have the job that we have, to be living here, to be finally getting our lives into a feeling of stability after so much time of just barely keeping it together. And sometimes you look back and you're like, man, those barely keeping it together years, those were the glory years. Like, that's when it was really happening. Anyway, ladies and gents, I've got nothing. Why am I still talking? Okay, disconnect from the server. Come over here. Infinite regression, full of sadness and sorrow, and continues to be, and probably will be for a long time. Okay, bye.